Let's find the area of this triangle. The formula for the area of a triangle is half of base times height. And that makes sense because if you consider a rectangle, we know that the area of a rectangle is the base multiplied by the height. A triangle would only be half of a rectangle. So half of the area of a rectangle. So let's get back to this problem here. To find the area of the triangle, we need to know the base and the height. We are given the base of 20, and we are given the height of 8. 12 is not the height because it doesn't come off of the base at a 90-degree angle. However, the 8 centimeters does. Therefore, the area will be 1/2 times 8 times 20, which is 80. But because this is a word problem, we need to include the units. It's actually 8 centimeters multiplied by 20 centimeters. Centimeters times centimeters is square centimeters. And that's how the area of anything is described, is with square feet or square inches or square centimeters or something like that. When you buy a home, you ask how many square feet there are. In other words, how much area is the floor plan? For a circle with a radius of 5 foot, what is the circumference and the area? First of all, if the radius is 5 foot, then that means that the diameter is 10 feet. We don't necessarily need that for this problem, but it is good to know what diameter means. I'll just leave it right there. Okay, so the circumference of a circle is equal to pi multiplied by the diameter. Or you could say pi times double the radius, since the diameter is double the radius, or 2 radii. So we will use 3.14 for pi and 10 for our diameter, and that comes out to 31.4 feet. Because the circumference is the distance around the edge of the circle. The area is how much space there is inside the circle, but the circumference is the distance around. For shapes that don't have curved sides like this, we call it perimeter, but for this we call it circumference. Now let's find the area. The area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. We'll use 3.14 for pi, and our radius is 5, so we will square that. When we multiply that out, we get 78.5, and because it's area, it will be square feet. And that's how we do it. Whereas circumference is the distance around an object, a circle, and the area is the amount of space that we can shade in. Volume, on the other hand, is the amount of stuff we can fit into a three-dimensional object. How much it takes to fill that three-dimensional object. That's volume. Now, the volume for a cylinder or can, like a soup can, is pi radius squared multiplied by the height. We know, or we're going to use 3.14 for pi. The radius is 4 feet, so we square it, and the height is 12 feet. And we get 602.88, but it says to round to the nearest whole number. So I'll just say 603. And the units are cubic feet. Whenever you are dealing with volume, you're dealing with cubic units and vice versa. Why is that? Because we did 4 feet squared, which gave us 16 square feet, multiplied by 12 feet. So feet times one more foot gives us cubic feet. And that's the way I do it. Now we take an equation and we solve for whatever variable is specified. It could be R, it could be S, it could be P. In this case, it is R. To get R by itself, we must remove the S and the 6 from the left side of the equation where the R is currently found. So I will add S to both sides. Then I will add 6 to both sides. And that's it. R is now isolated, therefore the problem is done. On this one, the idea is the same. They specify a variable for us to isolate, and so we take care of it. In this case, V is being divided by LW. The opposite of dividing by LW is multiplying by LW. So that those guys cancel, and we end up with V equals HLW. And it's done. Incidentally, we could write it as LHW or WLH or whatever, because multiplication is commutative. The L, the H, and the W are all being multiplied, and so the order does not matter. Now we solve for a variable that is inside of some parentheses. There are 2 ways that we could solve for x. One way is to start by dividing both sides by m so that we get this, then adding 8. So we get y over m plus 8. Another way would be to first multiply away the parentheses, yielding xm minus 8m. Then we could add 8m to both sides. And then divide both sides by m. and do it that way. The two answers look a little different, but they are equivalent. If I divide the m in the denominator of the second solution into both terms, then I get the first solution. And so they are equivalent. Either method is fine. It would be best to learn both. So we are now working with a rectangle, and we are considering the area of it. Therefore, we will work with the formula area equals length times width. We could also say base times height, but this problem specifically involves length and width. We know that the area is 8,624 square centimeters, and the length is 98 centimeters. So we get this equation. Dividing by 98, we get 88 centimeters. And that's the setup for these and how to do them. We are back to working with a rectangle, but this time instead of being given the area, we are being given the perimeter and being asked to find the area. So if we are being asked to find the area, we know we'll have to do length times width. Unfortunately, they don't give us the length or the width, but they do give us the perimeter, and they do give us information about the length and the width right in there. So since we know the perimeter is 108 inches, we could use the perimeter formula. Perimeter is all four sides of the rectangle added together, both lengths plus both widths. We know that the perimeter is 108. So I plug that in for P. Now, we know also that the length of the rectangle is 5 times as big as the width. So the length is 5 times the width. Therefore, I could replace L with 5W because it says right here that in this problem, L and 5W are equivalent. So I'll do that. 2 times 5W plus 2W. This simplifies to 108 equals 10W plus 2W, or 108 equals 12W. Dividing both sides by 12, I get 9 equals W, as in 9 inches. So to find the area, I still need length and width, and I have the width. Now I just need the length. But I know that the length is 5 times the width. So the length would be 5 times my width of W, or 45 inches. Therefore, I am finally ready to answer the question. The area is length of 45 inches multiplied by the width of 9 inches. Therefore, I get 405 square inches. Clearly, this problem is a bit more involved than most that we do, but it is a good one to study and to really understand backwards and forwards.